Yeah, they made it difficult for themselves, didn't they, Owen? It wasn't exactly a straightforward night, was it?
No, I mean, obviously there's things they need to work on. I mean, if you look at the stats, possession-wise, absolutely dominated. Attempts is, that's it's probably going to be the most, I think, of anybody this, and it's Europa League night. But finishing needs to be a bit better. I thought Marcus Rashford looked fantastic when he came on. He looked sharp, he looked quick, explosive, a couple good goals. Cristiano probably could have cut a couple more on another night, but defensively, I'm sure Erik ten Hag, after conceding on those goals against Man City, still have some work to do before the Everton game.
Yeah, when you talk about the amount of shots that Manchester United had then, it's actually the most shots they've had all season in any match. And there's plenty more to talk to the guys about in just a moment. And lots more to get through with Owen and Paul in the studio here as well. Manchester United get the job done in the end. They made it a difficult night for themselves. We'll look back at all the action after the break. Welcome back. Manchester United have won 3-2 out in Cyprus, which means that Group E looks like this. Manchester United are in second place with 6 points. Real Sociedad beat 10-man Sheriff by 2-0 tonight. David Silva was on the score sheet for the Spanish side, meaning that they stay top of the group with 9 points. They've got a 100% record, winning all 3 of their matches. And Omonia remain bottom of the table without any points from their first 3 games. But in the end, Manchester United managed to turn things around. It's kind of strange, really, when we sit here and look back at half-time, where we were all a bit shocked that Manchester United were trailing by 1-0 against Omonia. And now they've gone and turned the game around and won 3-2.
Yeah, we were always confident they would come back into the game. They had plenty of chances in that first half an hour, and you always felt they'd come back and score goals and get the win. Look, it wasn't a convincing win, which you'd expect, and give them only credit for that. No, they created some chances themselves, defended well, the keeper was really good. So, but the only thing to come out of tonight is they won the game.
They won the game, and at the time when they went 1-0 down in the first half, Owen, they'd actually had all of the shots in the game. Omonia scored with their first shot of the match, and it was Karim Ansarifid who scores for them, but it came from a Manchester United free kick. How did they let this happen?
Well, Erik ten Hag will be really annoyed because the ball can't end up back all the way in the counter-attack, Jadon can't play it back into Malacia there, can't get caught, gets it underneath his feet, and as Scholes said, credit, they counter-attack, and it's a brilliant finish. That was virtually their first attack. United should have been up by 1 or 2 at least. But that's a decision where you can't get caught in possession there, Jules. You just can't. You got to clip it over the top. You got to go back to the keeper. But they don't have the numbers back. Christian Eriksen's the only one really running back with any intent. I don't know how that's possible, considering he's the only one. There should be more bodies in there. But it was a fantastic finish against the run of play, you'd have to say.
Yeah, it's a really good finish. As Owen said, it's probably the only area of the goal where he could actually do it, but there's so many things wrong with that. The organisation was poor. Sancho going backwards when he's at the edge of his box, you'd expect a little bit more from him, and Malacia's bad touch. And then the reaction of Sancho as well, he starts to walk back, and like, as Owen said, Eriksen sprints back, Martez sprints back, but ultimately they can't stop the goal.
Lots of questions probably would have been asked at half-time. What do you think Erik ten Hag would have said to the players?
Well, he made 2 subs straight away, and he took Jadon Sancho off, and he took Malacia off. Basically, what he's saying was, that was your guys' goal. And he's making a point to the team. And, sometimes you have to be consequent, Sir Alex was with us at times. And I think that, that goal, I think, epitomised the fact he wasn't happy. He made some changes, and they had a huge impact on the game. Marcus Rashford was by far the best player on the pitch when he came on. Had a huge impact. Martial scored again. So I think in that sense, the manager deserves a lot of credit for making subs, making big call at half-time. Yeah,
and it didn't take long in that second half for Marcus Rashford to get the equaliser, but what about the ball from Bruno Fernandes?
Yeah, great pass. I'm not sure what he's doing so deep, but it's a fantastic pass. We know he's capable of that, and as Owen said, Marcus was as lively as I've seen him. It actually wasn't a great first touch, and then he ends up coming back. Cristiano, I think, makes a brilliant run for him, which creates a space. And too often you see Marcus, when he gets in that position, he tries to burst the ball, he tries to absolutely burst the net. And for this one occasion, it's a nice, cute side foot finish, and he's shown a little bit of composure that he probably hasn't done in the past.
Credit to Erik ten Hag for the substitutes as well, Owen. The last 5 goals scored by Manchester United have all been scored by substitutes.
Well, they have really good options. They have a big group of players to pick from. And it's nice to see, actually, Marcus, such a great athlete, you know, running in behind, making a forward run. When you have guys like Bruno, you had that with Scholesy, you know, just make a run, he'll find you. You know, and it's a good run from Marcus, and it's a fantastic ball from Bruno Fernandes. So I think in that sense, it's nice to see not everybody coming short, get it into feet, running behind, because guys like Bruno and Scholesy, they'll find you.
Yeah, Marcus Rashford had a good night. 2 goals and an assist involved in all 3 of Manchester United goals tonight. Let's hear from him now. He's with Danny Jameson.
Marcus, maybe a little more difficult than you would have wanted tonight, but is that just a case of job done?
Yeah, it's definitely job done, but we would have liked to have played better. I wouldn't say that we defended bad. I just think it was just mistakes, and mistakes happen in football, so we have to move on. But the least mistakes that we can make, the better for us.
Given the way that the first half went, what did the manager say to you at half time?
I think the first 35 minutes until they scored, we was playing well. We had a good movement. We could have probably just got in behind them a little bit more and had a bigger threat on the goal. But I thought we played well, watching in the first half. And then when he made the subs, he just wanted us to be a little bit more dynamic, a little bit take more chances going forward, and just try and score goals. When you're 1-0 behind, that's what we need to do. So it was positive. It was good at half time. We made positive changes and got back into the game.
So you came on at half time, playing off the left, scored twice. I think that's all of your goals this season. You've come playing off the left-hand side. Do you feel more comfortable there? Do you feel that's your best position?
I think I can play both. I think probably left side's a bit more natural for me. But I enjoy doing both positions and just helping the team. I think that's what's important, and we have a lot of players in the squad that can play in a few different positions as well. So it's a big positive to have. And if we've got injuries and stuff like that, you never know what's going to happen, and you have to do your best to play in whatever position is needed.
The substitutes really made a difference. Anthony Martial, I think, scored with his first touch. When he's playing the way he is, he's still rebuilding his fitness. How good can he be? How useful will he be for the rest of the season?
He's a massive player for us. He has been for a long time, and when he's happy and when he's at it, is an unbelievable player. And I've always enjoyed playing with him. It was nice to link up with him today to score his goal, and we'll be looking to do that more and more. So I think it's good for him. We've both been injured. He's been injured a little bit longer than me, so it's good for him to get minutes. And then for the second game in a row, he's come on and scored goals and made a good impact.
Obviously, after Sunday, maybe talk of trying to rebuild the confidence that may have been knocked a little bit with that result. Do you think this is the first step, just stacking these kind of results?
Yeah, I think any games, the next opportunity to do better than your last game, and it was massively needed after the weekend. To come in difficult circumstances, it's a positive result for us. Like I said, we just need to tidy up the mistakes, and we'll be fine.
Well done tonight. Thank you.
Yeah, really good night for him. And he talks about that link-up with Anthony Martial, both of them coming on as substitutes. How effective could that partnership prove to be this season for United?
Well, yeah, you'd like to think so. We know both lads are really talented. They're quick, they can finish, they can go either way. You'd like to see a bit more often from them, I suppose, a bit more consistency. But the quality's there. They're capable of doing a lot more for the team. I think there's a lot of goals in this Manchester United team. I do worry what's behind it. I think they're far too open at times, especially against a team tonight who, you wouldn't expect to score 2 goals against them. But every time they went forward, United looked open. I think they've got to try and get that midfield partnership, or the 2 or 3 in there right. I think Casemiro brings a lot of control, a lot of composure to the midfield, but he needs legs around him. He had that at Real Madrid. If he's going to play on Sunday at Everton, he needs that around him to try and protect that back four.
Well, Rashford mentioned that he thought that 2 goals that they conceded were down to individual mistakes rather than poor defending all over the pitch. Do you echo that?
Well, the first goal, definitely. That's why the manager made the 2 subs. Basically what he's saying is the 2 guys that made the mistake, he took them off. I think they have made some mistakes this season. And with Scholesy, that wasn't technically a great side. They didn't have much of the ball. They didn't keep it really well, but they still managed to score a couple of goals. So I think in that sense, if off the back of conceding 6 against Man City, 8-2 is not fantastic. And Everton are in a decent run of form. So they need to tidy up defensively. I'm with Scholesy. I think they'll always score goals, United. They've got so many good attacking players. But the problem is they're just conceding a little bit too much.
Well, let's take a look at Anthony Martial's goal, because we saw the link up between Rashford and Martial for this one. It was a lovely little assist from Rashford, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Look, he was brilliant when he came on. He was lively. He was doing everything, running in behind, and again a lovely little flick there. And it's the kind of finish you expect from Martial. Look, the lad's got real ability. He's been quiet for a year, 18 months now, and we know. I think every United fan and whoever's watched United know this lad has got real talent. We're not sure what's happened to him. Maybe injuries, confidence-wise, maybe not being happy. I don't know. But the lad has got ability. We just need to see it more often. He came on Sunday, obviously scored them 2 goals, and there's potential for this lad to score a lot of goals for Man United. I just hope he can take his chance now.
It's interesting because we talked before the game about the fact that Erik ten Hag didn't bring Cristiano Ronaldo on in the derby when they were 4-0 down. He brought Martial on. He got his goals. How much confidence would that have given him, despite the result, to be able to come onto the pitch tonight and do what he did?
Yeah, I think he's the type of player that needs confidence, because I think when he has it, he's a handful. He's a proper player, and I think he's good when he's always on the move. You know, when he's running forward, I think he's really good. I thought Martinez played some great balls into the centre forwards quicker, so they're able to get it in turn and run at people. Marcus looks great doing that. Martial looks great doing that. I think when they have their back to the game, you know, when they have to be almost like a wall player. I don't think either of them like that, Scholes, who do that. They kind of want to be on the move and running at people, and they're very, very good.
It was his 100th career goal tonight, Anthony Martial,
Wow.
as well, so a bit of a milestone for him. You talked about the fact that there were mistakes for the goals conceded, and Omonia came close when the game was at 2-1 to equalising through Bruno, and if there was anyone who you'd expect to put this away in the Cypriot team, it would be him, because he's their top scorer.
Yeah,
and
he played well as well. Again, it's just so easy. United just looks so easy to break through and onto the back four. I don't think one-on-one defensive they're good enough, and he should score really. You know, he'll be looking to try and lift it over the goalkeeper there, and just doesn't get enough on the ball. And you know, if they get to 2-2, you never know, it could have gone either way, because again they scored after that as well. So United were, as much as they created chances at the other end, they were a little bit lucky as well.
Yeah, well, we thought that at 3-1, Marcus Rashford's goal meant it was game over. He's now equalled his tally for the whole of last season, scoring 5 goals in his first 8 appearances in this campaign. He only scored 5 in 32 all of last season, albeit a lot of those were as a substitute. But at this point, we thought game over.
But you know what? They linked up really well, Marcus and Cristiano. You know, Marcus is great running with the ball, and it's a really, actually good run from Cristiano. And it's nice to see them linking up. You know, oftentimes we see them both having shots and taking shots. I think they can link up together with Martial. That could be a great partnership, you know, with Martial and Marcus and maybe Cristiano through the middle, because they can play wide. But it's nice to see Marcus being really positive, because I think when Marcus runs with the ball, he's actually almost impossible to play against. He's quick and he's strong. He's a good striker of the ball. So with Martial and Cristiano, I'm a Scholesy. I think there's options there to be positive about.
Could you see that as the front three going forward?
I can on Sunday. Yeah, I think the impression that the 2 subs have made tonight with Cristiano as well. You know, there are a lot of games Cristiano will be able to play, and I think Everton could be one of them. It's not a massive pitch. You won't have to be sprinting out everywhere, working the channels. When he's got 2 wide lads who have got goals in them, I think the 2 wide lads that play today, Sancho and Anthony. Look, I know Anthony scored on Sunday, but I think Martial and Rashford would be more dangerous. I think they've got a little bit more about them. They can go either way. They're quick. Defenders will be frightened to death of them. And Cristiano, okay, he had a lot of chances tonight. It didn't quite work for him. It wasn't quite his night. But that won't happen for long with Cristiano. If he gets chances Sunday, he will score.
Well, as positive as they were going forward, as we've spoken about, they then did get another goal back in the game, and it was a first senior goal for Panagiotou for Omonia. At this point, are you in any kind of concern that Man United are not going to come away with the victory, Owen?
Well, you just can't turn over the ball, Jules, in a game like that, in that position. You know, sloppy. It's a fantastic finish, by the way. Both goals were exceptional finishes, but you see, I mean, I think that's what Marcus alluded to, the mistakes. You know, turnover possession in midfield. In Europe, Jules, that's almost a guarantee. That's a goal. You turn over it in there, as they did, and you get punished. So I think that's what you got to tidy up, those mistakes which you don't need. But you have to credit the 2 finishes. They were very, very good.
OK, well, lots of credit going to Omonia. Let's hear from their manager now, Neil Lennon.
Neil, came very close, but it just wasn't to be tonight.
Yeah, listen, we were we rode our luck a lot of times, Danny. So, I mean, it was a great game. You know, we kept ourselves in the game, whether it be good goalkeeping or United missing good chances. And to score 2 goals against them was probably more than I could have imagined. I didn't think until we scored, we believed in ourselves really, and then it gave us something to hold on to. They got 2 quick-fire goals, but we had chances at 2-1 to get level. The 3rd goal has killed us, but you know, on the balance of play, United thoroughly deserved to win.
I was going to say that the first goal taken in the lead did seem to give your side belief. Is that something that you can take into next week at Old Trafford as well?
It's going to be a different game again, you know, but listen, they've seen them up close and they know how good they are and they know maybe what their weaknesses are. You know, it's a hell of a long shot to get something out of the game, but we'll go there and give everything we've got. It was a big night for us, and some of the players stood up really well.
Look, you said yesterday that after both of the group games so far, you'd had regrets. Do you have regrets tonight?
I think some of them will, yeah. I think some of them will. The second goal, you know, we're too open from right centre half to middle centre half. And that was at a crucial point of the game. And then Bruno misses a great chance with the lob to get us back in it. And, you know, when you're feeding off scraps at times, you've got to make them count. But, yeah, I mean, there's things we could do better in terms of ball retention at times. But, listen, the gulf between the 2 teams is huge, and we know that. But we made a game of it. And to get 2 goals, like I say, is fantastic.
Appreciate your time.
Thanks, Danny. Cheers.
Well, it sounds like he's pleased with what he's seen out there, despite the defeat in the end, Owen. But how much confidence will the players take from scoring 2 goals against Manchester United and heading into Old Trafford next week?
Yeah, I thought he nailed that, actually, because he thought they didn't really believe until they scored. And then once they scored, they started to get a bit more belief. Scholes, you mentioned half-time, they started to have a bit more possession, be a bit more positive. And I think, in a way, of course, they would have preferred to get a result. But I think those players would be delighted the fact they scored a couple of goals, had another good opportunity, which they could have taken with the lob. And caused United problems, really, without much of the ball. You know, Neil mentioned it there. You know, United dominated the game and deserved to win, but they posed a threat, and I think he'd be happy with that.
Yeah, they had a couple of good moments in the match, didn't they? And we're going to take a break now, but when we return, we are going to be hearing from the Manchester United manager, Erik ten Hag, on what wasn't a straightforward night out in Cyprus, but Manchester United get the job done in the end. We'll be hearing from him after the break.
Oh, well, a better first touch from Rashford would have had him in on goal. He's got a chance anyway, and he's equalised. Substitution pays off. Marcus Rashford, 7 minutes after coming on. And what an introduction from Anthony Martial. First involvement, back of the net. Here's Ronaldo. And there's Rashford again. 3-1. That ought to be game, set, match to Manchester United.
Second half goals from Rashford and Martial. Let's hear from the United boss. He's with Danny.
Erik, congratulations. Got the result that you wanted this evening. What did you think of your side's performance?
I think we started well. Couple of chances. And then unnecessary down. Mistake cannot happen. We have to take responsibility there. But then a really bad 10 minutes. And we have to learn from that.
You talked about dealing with the atmosphere and the ambience. Conceding in that manner when you did, after having such a good first 35 minutes, is that the worst possible time to do it? It gave this crowd a real lift.
Yeah, so it is. You let the crowd get alive, and you have to avoid that, and we know that all.
The response that you got after half-time seemed really impressive. What did you say to them at half-time in the dressing room? What did you try to change?
Yeah, some couple of things, especially more runs. And we were too static. And we have to make the opposite movement to get behind. And that's why also we make 2 subs in that time, and they had really an impact.
Is that what you were looking for, and particularly from Marcus? He seemed very sharp when he came on.
Yeah, I think, and Luke and Marcus, definitely. But also Anthony Martial, of course, with his 2-1. I think the subs had really an impact today. And that is really good. That makes the team stronger.
And on Anthony Martial, obviously he's working his way back from fitness, but if he's playing the way that he did when he came on Sunday and also this evening, how important a piece could he be for you?
We have already seen that in pre-season. It was a really big disappointment for this team, for me, when he got injured in the last 10 minutes against Atletico Madrid. So we missed him in the first couple of weeks, and that also had an effect on our team performance.
Bruno Fernandes talked about rebuilding the confidence maybe after Sunday, after what that may have done to the players. Results like tonight, is that the first step, stacking these kind of results?
Yeah, definitely. But it has to be only warm-up. The Sunday, we have to, especially there, we have to react. We have to give the best performance we have, and we have to prepare that now.
Appreciate your time. Well done tonight.
Please.
Well, they got the win tonight, but all the attention now does turn to that game at Goodison Park on Sunday, doesn't it? Have you seen enough from the performance tonight to take confidence into that game?
No. Being honest, I haven't. I think he was right there what he said about the wingers being static. I think Sancho never really runs in behind. He's a player who needs somebody to play with. He needs a fast left back if he's playing on the left-hand side. He needs a centre forward to link with. He hasn't really got that. I think Anthony on the other side as well doesn't run in behind. He seems to be a little bit of a one-trick pony. He's always cutting inside, passing back to the full-back or having a shot, and I think he needs to develop a little bit more. It's still early days for him, we know that. But I'd be more worried about the midfield area. I think they look too open at times tonight. I think Casemiro coming in, yes, he brings control, he brings composure, hasn't really got the legs to play there on his own. I think on Sunday, if Casemiro plays, they'll have to play someone with him, someone right next to him, whether that's a Fred or a McTominay. He's played with Fred with Brazil. I think they've got a really good record together. Yeah. We were talking before. Because the back four, for me, need protecting. I think once you get at them two centre-halves and the full-backs, Malacia came off at half-time. That may be a sign that Luke Shaw will play on Sunday. I think they're vulnerable. I don't think they're great one-on-one defending. I think Everton are a much better team than we've seen the opposition tonight. And if they get them type of chances, you'd expect them to score.
Who do you think should start in midfield on Sunday then, Owen? Because after the Derby defeat, all the questions were being asked about why you've got a player worth that amount of money sat on the bench in Casemiro. But after what you've seen tonight, has he done enough to start Sunday?
Well, you've got to give him a chance to play, Jules. You know, you spend a lot of money on him. The guy's won 5 Champions Leagues. You know, he can be a great asset to the team. So I'm sure he'll get a run of games. I think he needs it. And I'm sure he'll play on the weekend. The question is, it's not who plays in the midfield. It's, you know, what are your front three? Depending on what your front three are, then you need to dictate your midfield. If you go with Martial, Ronaldo and Rashford, then I think you need 2 defensive midfield players in there with one, whether Eriksen or Bruno. If you play, depending on who the front three are, then maybe you can play 2 number 10s. You know, Scholesy made the point. They should dominate the ball at Goodison, you know, because they're better than Everton in possession. So I think he's got options now, and I think having Martial back gives him something different. I could see that front three that finished the game. I could see them starting the game, but I'm sure Casemiro will play. Just the question is who plays with him.
Who's your front three for Sunday?
Yeah, I'd go with that front three. I think at the minute they'll probably be the most dangerous. As I said, there's games for Cristiano. I think Sunday could be a game for him. Martial and Rashford, I think they picked themselves after tonight. They made such a difference in that second half. Again, I keep coming back to the midfield area. I think that's the big question. I think if Casemiro plays, he definitely needs somebody next to him. Look, he played for Real Madrid for so many years. He played in the 3 all the time. 2 brilliant players next to him. Now, he needs help. He hasn't got the greatest of legs, but what he does bring is control, composure, good passing, nice relaxed nature about him, almost as a captain type character. He'll need Fred or McTominay with him. He'll need one of them with him. The interesting thing might be Bruno and Eriksen, really, what he does with that, because he brought Bruno off after, I don't know how long, after an hour. He's been a little bit ineffective over the last 3 or 4 weeks, so maybe it'll be Casemiro, Fred, McTominay, and possibly Eriksen. It might be a time for Bruno to have a little bit of a rest on Sunday.
OK, Paul, Owen, thank you so much for your company. We're going to be at Old Trafford next week, Thursday, for the reverse fixture of this match, so we'll see you then. In the meantime, just to remind you what else is happening on BT Sport tonight, Arsenal currently in action against Bodo Glimt over on BT Sport 2 and Ultimate, or you can stay here on BT Sport 1. We'll be joining the Freiburg Nantes match after the break, where it is goalless. We will see you next time. Good night.